Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at NCT Dream's track entitled Beatbox. This is a Patreon request. Shout out to Kit for the request. 9 times out of 10 when you see an NCT affiliated reaction, it's going to be affiliated with Kit. So we always give our thanks to Kit. Make sure to shout them out in the comments. We are going to look at the music video, the dance practice, and a behind the scenes, which is always really fun. That with the NCT side, there's always a ton of behind the scenes that helps us get kind of an inside scoop on just the mechanics on how they learned it, the interactions amongst the members. It's gonna be really fun. So let's go ahead and get started.
Boom, 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 boom. All right. Boom, boom. Let's go.
He's trying. I don't know if I'd give him beatboxing like the title beatboxer. I appreciate the effort though.
Yeah.
Exploding confetti of school supplies. Oh man. Yeah. It does feel interesting. Anytime I see an NCT material, I'm always looking for Mark. I feel like he's in most things I look at. Funny. There's a certain beat kill they do, and the musicality is really nice. That part. I think out of the groupings of NCT thus far, I think I like NCT Dream's discography more preferentially compared to 127, but I like the choreography of 127 a lot. Yeah. That's really fun. And then you have one member going the opposite direction. In the beatbox. Beatbox. That's cool. It's cool. Like, that one definitely grew on me for sure. And I really, really like a lot of the choices in how they chose to deviate from that normal rhythm they were going off of, that like a lot of those extra sounds, or when they dropped the bass out, and then they kept a lot of these more beatbox percussive kind of sounds in it. That was really, really fun. Okay, I still feel like Mark, he could probably go back to the lab and try a little bit more on his beatboxing, but hey, I can't say much because I would also be in the same boat. Is he gonna beatbox live? Yes. Oh, oh, oh. Ooh. And I love that one member is wearing these bright red shoes compared to everybody else's black and white shoes. What a vibe. Love the subtleties with these control elements with the head. Oh, we just held hands ever so slightly. Were they supposed to show that they got in trouble? Is what that felt like as they transitioned to the back. Yeah. Earworm for sure. Yeah, I can get on board with that. Yeah. Here we go. So whenever Mark does it, it travels up, but I think the second time we saw it, it ended up kind of isolating here to the neck. I love the way to showcase your features. Yeah. In the beatbox. Oh, it was crisper. It was crisper the second time. It was the same choreo, but crisper. Got it. Love me a good melt. Thank you. Nice shamrocks, yeah. Yeah. It's a little cipher moment. Okay. Oh, and then another member is wearing just straight blue jeans. Getting sturdy. Yeah. That's a vibe. I love that he just took it off. I don't know if that was planned, or maybe it was. I don't know if that was planned, and he said, I'm gonna do it too. We'll find out. That was fun. Oh, or maybe it was at the end, but some of them took it off early. I don't know. I really liked how that was formatted, though. That's funny. That was fun. It feels very positive, very enlightening, right? It doesn't feel lame at all, which is great. You want to have that. What I find also really fun is literally yesterday, of the time of me recording this, or the day before, I watched a battle, and it was like for 2018. It was a Buki versus Hurricane, and it was a beatbox beats that they were given, where it's just somebody just breaking it down, and they had to dance on it. So it was all completely improv. Like they had no idea what was about to be played because it was coming from their mouth, right? So I think that's so fun, kind of how these are kind of tying together. So love that. And you can go check that one out. It should be on YouTube at this point, which is super cool. This one will come out soon too. We love it. All right, from the top, this beginning, they're sitting there eating, shooting some hoops, writing, of course. He's about to pop off. They're like, oh, can't handle it. Aggressive. Love it. They're like, chill out, dude. We can't handle that. Which I find to be quite humorous. And I also am curious if Mark, that whole beginning, was it supposed to be serious or more on the comedic side? I don't quite know. But that could just be a preference thing. I think it's fun. Okay, here we go. From the top, that little boom boom. They've already showing focal point choreo right here at this point with the beatbox. I love that choreo. It's nice. And then having one of our members go and shoot his hand forward. He has a nice little accent point interaction with them. He accents down right there to the heel. Then they have their nice moment. Now this right here, does that remind you of Hurricane by Bad Villain? Possibly. This came out before then. But this is a really nice circular groove where you have the option. Groove originates from the chest and the shoulders right there in the upper body, and letting the lower body help complement and support. But allowing this freedom in the upper body, but some sense of structure and familiarity in the lower body is something that we've seen quite a few times in the hip-hop influenced kind of side. Now, would I give this hip-hop? I mean, I would give it more like the street style essence, but heavy hybrid. So I'm not going to really declare any particular style. There's just itemized moves that come from different realms, which is really, really fun. But I like how they all say nice and low, and I like how they're incorporating their arms. They're going in opposition of their rock that they're doing in their torso, hence why it feels more full and very complementary with their arms to torso. And I like they syncopated that. They go slow and slow, a little milky, a little smooth, and then they boom, boom, boom right there on the bass. They syncopate it really nice to match Mark. And then he brush on the jacket, and it goes drum, drum, drum. The triple on that's really nice. Notice that we're using the back there, boom, 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 to make that feel nice and full. But it does feel like we're going for a smidgen of a reverb, but kind of what would happen is whenever I'm using a lot of force in a very short amount of time, there's going to be a natural interaction that happens with my arm as a result of that, right? It's cool. And then they switch it over, that low. Love that feature moment, and the sound is nice, and the subtlety of the heads to match the dropout of that sound, which is cool. And then they do one more conversational head movement, and he just, wags his finger. I love those moments. They're so fun because it was so full in the beginning, still smooth and slow, but really nice, and it builds to a great place because we're able to experience this. And it goes over, and I really like, once again, we're letting our torso, at least with some of our guys, I'm noticing it right here with my guy, he's letting his chest influence on top of the arm. The arm, I'm assuming, is very structured, using the back to help create a similar synergy of energy that everybody else is doing, but it's kind of giving like a DJ scratch almost, but DJ scratches, it's like on the vinyl or a record, right? And then with the beatbox, you're creating beats that normally would happen on something outside of something that's recorded, not coming from the voice, which I think is super cool to be able to explore. So I like that kind of wordplay, or that kind of visual wordplay is nice. So they all go away, they have their moment there, feature just walks forward, still conversational, they reach over to the side. I like the lift up, notice that our elbows are nice and in line with the shoulders, and then they throw. I like the throws on this as well. Look nice, they're letting, once again, their back influence the full range of it, and they're not just throwing it for the sake of it. That doesn't look as reliable on range, like you're able to see with the fullness. They go out in, right there, converting to a column, to immediately shooting out to our feature dropping low. New feature pops up from the back. Then we have every other, so it's balanced. So he does a little subtle, 5 for me. I always prefer whenever you see somebody exchange to do a little gimme 5, like a Campbell locking essence, which is cool. I love the throws right here. It reminds me of a little of a Jono clap from Light Feet. You see, DJ, bring it back. It's just such a fun vibe, but they don't quite, it does kind of feel like we're entertaining a Jono clap, but not really diving into the style of Light Feet or really referencing it. It just feels that setup. It's hybrid, like I said. Very fun. The clap, and he says, woo, which we really love. Of course, he does this little like, where you at vibe. This right here is what makes me think, if you've ever watched any of the school-based kind of dramas or shows, whenever you see teenagers or like high schoolers get in trouble, they kind of have to hold their ears, and they have to squat and walk as like a punishment for being tardy or something like that. So that's what that reminds me of, which is a way better way of getting people transition onto stage than a basket run. I will take that all day. Maybe they won't, because this just hurts your thighs, but I love this gimmick here. Then you have your features right here. They go 2-2 with the throw, your center, or your feature over. I'm assuming, yeah. So he is your feature. It did take me a second to kind of figure out who that feature was in that moment, but for me, there's checks and balances you can weigh with it. Like if it took me the entire time of his feature for me to find him, it'd be pretty hard. But because I believe he was in center, right? There's a natural assumption when you look at somebody in center of a formation when you don't know, when in doubt, look center, right? And so because he's there, I think there's a little bit of grace we can extend to that. But normally we always want it to be super, super clear who is our feature, even if they're not mouthing the words, which at times they're not. But I love the humor of this. It's fun. I love the smiles. A little brush is fun. So he's the one that transitions up opposite of the other two, which naturally makes us want to clock him too, which is nice. So from there, he has his throw moment. He goes and rotates his hand. He's like, hey, what's up? And then they all go. Nice little slide over. It does feel like we're doing a twirl or something along those lines. But let's look here. They accent over. I like the little bass and how they chose to pop or use that type of dynamic to transition over to a new formation. They go out in, could be a smidgen cleaner there, but whatever, it's fine. They take the arms out, and then here we go, party time. And I love how they go down. I love the little clap right there, or just the accent with the fist, and they bring it over, swing, we rotate the arms around, and arms over, boom, yeah. When you say yes, you nod your head. So I like that integrated. It ties into what we saw in verse 1, where they hit over when you had one of our members wag his finger and they all just nodded after the percussion. I liked seeing that integrated here. It's hybrid. It's developed, repackaged, which we always love. Brush it over to the side, and then they sustain or suspend up in the air, lifting one of our legs, and allowing a nice little accent to go with the head to redirect with the body. I love those choices. They go high, low, and I like from there, this definitely gives a hit the quan vibes, but just a modified, varied arm, which I really like. It's a great way to transition, take up time, but still feel communal. And that's what this gives me the vibe of. There's a lot of synchronicity that we can honor and appreciate about this, but the individuality gets to stand out because they're being clean when they need to be. And so I know a lot of the NCT world of things, some groups like 127, not really known for cleanliness, but more individuality. But I've mentioned kind of my piece there, especially during the Tony Testa era of the choreo. You want to be mindful if you're going for a concept or learning choreography that is structured where it's going to look most effective when done clean. Then that's going to set your group up for success to where I can appreciate your individuality more. But here in this case, this is a good example of kind of what I would mention in past NCT reactions and analysis, where here they are doing that. They are clean enough to where we're able to see the nuances of their personality, to where they are able to kind of break off or like have these little conversations, you know, like we saw in the beginning, but also they're able to hold it down, and I can understand the syncopation or the complexity of some of their polyrhythms that they choose to do, or multitasking steps. So that's kind of like my overview on this, which is what I really, really like. I love seeing routines like this because it doesn't look cheesy, because you can pull a school theme cheesily, but they do it quite well. It's just that very beginning that we saw Mark do just felt a little bit like, you can take it or leave it, but everything else is fine. I like the punch right there with the leg. It's nice with the throw, or the complementary arms to boot that. Then from here, I like this little penguin walk that they end up doing. It's a fun transition. Then they end up just layering up their arms, which is super nice. That, yeah, I like how we lean it over to the side. Super fun. We throw it up, pop with the knees. Come on now. And we bring it up, arm, and then we do a little nay. It's cool. And they end up digging on that last one to help transition to the next movement. And then we have our feature. He drops his hands first. Everyone else keeps them up. Keeps him focused, which is nice. New feature, points at us. He's like, hey, look at me. I'm looking. I see you. And they go, boom. They make the beatbox. Yeah, it's just fun. And then from here, we go into a little Harlem Shake with a little bit of a bedrock. So that's a polyrhythm of 2 different steps. Well, yeah, that's like a bedrock for the most part. Or is it, here's the opposite. Let me see. I'm trying to do it in my head. So you have, no, that's a bedrock is where you bleed it. A Pac-Man, I'm so sorry. That's a Pac-Man, is what they're doing in the lower half, with the upper body being a Harlem Shake. So it's a polyrhythm of 2 different old school steps right here. If you kind of separate it, it's 2 things. Got it, cool. And then they go tick, and when they let the legs kind of do the talking there. I like how Mark looks down on that, and it goes boom, boom, and then he hits it over. I love that choice, creating an opening with the torso in order to allow that fullness to take shape with the back. And they take it nice and subtle with the elbow, full range on the arm. And it goes beatbox, just like what we've seen already. And then it goes boom, tick, 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 and we travel it up. So our feature does the traveling, and I think Jisung is the other one, and I saw them both in the mix and match, which is really cool that we got to see that. Click, 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 click. It did feel different in the music videos, and it could very well be, but here I think they both do the same thing. Jisung's was I think very clear in how he traveled it, very crisp, and then Mark's just felt more like we're traveling, and I kind of get the gist on it, click click there, but that's totally fine. I love the gimmick, I love the dropout of the bass. Like I said, it's just super fun to keep you engaged on that, and to me it's more of my preference whenever we have these weird isms that happen in the NCT music. I can get on board with these more so than some of these timbre, like over harmonized sections that we hear from 127. I know it's some people's cup of tea. For me, it's not, but I can appreciate the choreo nonetheless, and I appreciate what their discography is too. So we got to keep that in mind. There is beauty and preferences, but also we celebrate choreo regardless of the of the track that they dance to. Anyway, they go hit it over. I like the little whoa to help back that. They hit it down. Then we have this little whisper. And then the beatbox, it's cool. And then we have one of our members, he kind of deviates. I think he was supposed to prep onto the back. Nothing crazy, right? Super fine. And they end up adding on to the back, which is cool. And then we're about to have 3 more join in, but now they're kind of hanging out doing their own thing, which I really like. I think some of them chose to just lean over to the side and some really chose to go all the way down. So that would honestly be a note that I would give over here. It's just clarifying how invested our torso is going to be as we do these movements or as we do these kinds of choices, which is fine. And it has this moment, and then da-da-da-da beatbox. And it goes, mwah, that was cute. Yeah, I'll bring it back. So I love this little interaction from our 2 features and then having everybody compliment it in symmetry. Thank you for that. They drop low. Then we have another conversation happen from 2 people adjacent to them. I love that. And they're fixing each other's jackets. Are they like, hey, is it combative or is it like complimentary? I don't know, but I like it. It's cool. And they bring it over. They have a little click and then they do a little with a body roll. Come on. And they end up switching the weight. I like how Mark does it. So if you notice, he's doing a full weight shift on it. So the 2 body rolls, and some are just going subtle, and he's doing a full weight bounce with it. And then one more thing, there's an ISO going on with one of my guys. I love that. I think it's so fun. And they go pop da 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 da. And then they go into a little sneeze transition into a diagonal. Love that. And this right here, if you were curious what this move is called, it is called a TLC. I referenced that from Link. He has taught a lot of the old school hip hop moves or just hip hop party moves. And whenever he taught this one, it's a different type of timing, but I've heard that referenced as a TLC, which is cool. Go be curious about these things. I love being able to talk about them or being able to clearly see a party move like this, and it feels like a party, so it feels very fitting. But TLC was a trio, a trio group that popped the freak off. We'd love to celebrate groups that impact music history in a great way. But I like with our feature, he's still maintaining his spacing with everyone, but he's modifying it, of course, with his arms, but I also think with his legs. Yeah, I guess maybe it's because he's having that conversational element. It just feels more isolated. It could be that it's multitasking on top of multitasking is what he's had to do. I like this. I don't know if we were trying to do a trace wave, which is where you're taking your arm, not your arm, you can kind of do this with anything, but in this context, taking your arm and you're forcing energy through another element of your body. And so when you do a wave, by adding a trace, it makes it look like this arm's controlling the wave. So was it that? I don't know. I think that'd be my one note. Boom. And then we have maybe, I think. So we wave into it. So my note would be just make that more clear to finish it out, just collectively, whoever chose to do it. So it's very easy to read when you do a trace wave, and then they end up accenting, hitting that bass at the bottom, which is cool. And then they end up doing it again. More marked that time. It's fine. Nothing crazy there. They go cross, cross, out, up. Love that. Where it's like we're talking now. Some are choosing to go up, some are here, so that would be a clarification. Where's our focal point? Because doing this here showcases I'm here to speak, to yell loud. But if I have it here is I'm ready to catch a ball of some kind, right? So that's why positioning into wherever you have it is going to register or read differently if I can't go off of words. So hands tell a lot, and then they end up going and accenting on the head. So we'll give them that. Nice little party. Yeah! I love it whenever in dance practices we hear yelling. I recently watched an Astro one after midnight. I did get emotional watching that one for various reasons, and you can assume. But they were yelling and cheering, and they were so happy in that one. And so I really do love when we do choose to go a gregarious kind of concept like this, more upbeat, having them look like they're genuinely enjoying their time, or they're using yelling to kind of cope with momentum and motivation to finish the routine. I always am on board with that, and I love celebrating and recognizing that too. I love that. Yeah, so now it's the same choreo that we've seen before. Of course, you notice some of our choices are a smidgen off, but because of how the concepts operated, we allow in our brain subconsciously, at least for me, to allow a sense of grace in the range, because it's not a competition routine. So we're not going to sit here and like nitpick it. They're not trying to be like clones, so we can't look at uniformity as a sign of competency. Their uniforms show them their uniformity, yet their individuality and what they wear underneath it. And so that's why, as long as everyone's doing the timing right for the most part, range can always be a little bit easier and more forgiving on concepts like this, to me. And they boom, boom. Once again, I love this little ISO, and then we incorporate the head after. It's just fun. So it just feels a little bit cleaner the second time. It could be from the formation they're in to their transitions that may come across that way, as well as who's going to be our natural peripheral focal point or who we're looking at. They may be executing it a little bit cleaner too, which happens, just like I said, between Mark and Jisung. I think Jisung executed it and it was very readable just in this dance practice. I love that slide out. It was such a nice little surprise even here, and I love how everybody was up except for him. He slid out, had his moment, we go in, then the beatbox. And then we have our little Harlem shake, boom, boom. Yeah, boom, boom. We end up throwing it over to the side like we've done. Yep, and they all lean in. And then here, do you see what I mean? Click, 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 click. The range on that really, really clean from that hand. And also, too, it could also be that we're already familiar with that sound and what to listen for, and so we're expecting something like that to happen. So we're actually holding him to a higher standard of execution because we know that sound exists, versus Mark, where it was our first time hearing it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just kind of hypothesizing here on the what ifs as to why the choices are that way. One of our guys had to adjust his stability, but that's totally fine. He goes back in. That's fun. Let's hear that. Wah, wah, wah. I love how we all popped out. Wah, wah, wah. Hearing that sound fully. Good transition down. I like how we all just kind of phrase our way down, which is really nice. I like the bleed on that too. Looks great. And then he does a little, little sweep around, which is cool. And I love the speed change. Just our tone has shifted in our track, so our movement should follow suit, which is exactly what you see. They're not highly syncopating at no high percussive staccato-based movements, meaning very sharp. It's more smooth. It's a speed change. It feels like we're going through syrup, molasses almost, right? And so I love that we get to recognize that shift, and it helps us stay captivated and be reintroduced to the track because of the shift in sound. And I love that moment. He goes here, he throws it, they all boom, drop down. Love the hinge on that. He goes out in, and I love the turn. And then we have the slide, 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 which we're here for. Da, 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 da. And they take the accent, boom, into a little shamrock, it feels like. So they go take it over, and I like how our feature, he has them all drop down lower. And then he does a little more isolated shamrock to get to the other side, and everybody else uses it to get back up. So I like the level change. It's going from high-low and then low-high. And then I like this pushback is also really fun. And he has this little wave, which we're here for. I love that moment there. We throw, take the arms up, down, come on. And it goes out in. Notice the bass on that. Boom, ba boom, boom. Yeah, have a nice little cipher moment. So when I mention cipher, it's different than a battle. Cipher is just an exchange where you see people, you see like a cipher circle, and you see somebody go in, and they're just exchanging energy, exchanging movement quality, right? It's inspirational. And battles are more of that, not adjudicated structure of it, but you are using a different skill set that you're phrasing your your format of how you freestyle in a way that's going to make it competitive against somebody within a particular schema of criteria based on the style. But when it comes to a cypher, a lot of times it's say you just go with the flow and go with what moves you, which I prefer cyphers over battles for me because I just feel safer in the space. But that's just a complete side note. But I love having that here. It feels very communal, like his moment there. He brings it back, he hits it over. Definitely feels like we're trying to hit some form of that get sturdy to kind of foreshadow what we're about to do, and really nice rotational formation change. It's nice. He takes it, he throws it, they all drop out of it, which I really like that choice. They go in. I do think one of my guys could drop just a smidgen lower just so we can see this member right there in the back, but that's just more of a preference thing. And then beatbox, same thing, focal point, love that. Honestly too, this reminds me of like a whoa, like a bird call. I've heard people like be able to pop off in the forest, whoa, with that. So beatbox, it's just beatbox for the birds is what that reminds me of, and I love it so much. Anyway, then we have a little party moment. Then we have the ti-ti-ti-ti, but we have different levels, and then we have different heads that finish up on the tail end of it, having our feature do the original with just an accented finish, is what it gives the impression on. And I like how he hits it, and a nice little twist of the heels. Does it remind me of a Tonewat twist, possibly because we saw a Jono clap hybrid in it, seeing a little that Tonewat. We don't really quite have the torso or the groove in that, so we're just gonna call it maybe inspired, but not really the technique of it. But I like the choice, and he ends up kicking it, and I like how they all look over to it, and then they go do 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 do. Are they doing a little pot de beret there? Let's see. And they come up. Yeah, really nice way to get everybody to come up on the same page. This is giving Dreamcatcher right here. If you guys have ever seen Dreamcatcher, I love it. Okay, from like their old stuff. Oh, then they're just moving to get to their spot. I like the bass, the heaviness of it. Bass, bass, bass. Really nice syncopated. Then we have one of our members come forward. Now, he's really, really hype for the whisper, but that's just my preference. Whenever you're thinking really whispered, intimate, I don't want to think, hey, I'm telling you a secret, and I'm going to do jumping jacks and like explode confetti cannons, right? It doesn't quite feel fitting to the environment in which you hear whispers, but I'm kind of indifferent to that at this point because he's probably like, he has to do something to stand out, and maybe everybody moving except for him could be helpful there. I don't know, just workshopping ideas, but that part didn't quite fit or mesh as well as the other whisper moments to me, but that's okay. There's our sturdy. One, da-da-ba-ba, yeah, and I like the yeah, so it's slow, 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 yeah. I was expecting, even now, to hear that they doubled up that sturdy, but they didn't, which is totally fine. And then they go, yeah, and bless that left leg. They are having a hop to and fro on that. Then they go, I did feel like we're doing a little pas de bourrée, but we're stepping our leg back to get us a transition, using our arms not as a fixed point, but we are pushing them to kind of exist in the space that we were just in, so it creates a fullness of separation from us from where we were. Really fun. And then right here you have a feature in the center, and then you have a 3 and 3. Really nice. Bring it over. Notice that we're kind of popping our head low, which I really like, except for our feature. It actually makes him very clear because he's very open and everyone's very closed, which is nice. And he takes it off. Now, was he supposed to take it off here? I don't know. The look on their faces right here next to him gives the impression that he's not, I don't think it was practice that he was going to do that, but he did, and they're here for it. Now, I do have a behind the scenes. Will they talk about it? I don't know, but I love that. I mean, look at their faces. They're looking, they're like, what? Now, this is a polyrhythm through delegation. So we have a group going with their feature, and then we have other members hitting a completely different, it assumes rhythm and movement. So let's look here. They are. So you have this nice little moment with our feature, and they're hitting on the bass in the back. So I like that with the nice fullness there. They go ball change it. I like how we take our arms down and then we bring them right back up. And then they go switch it up with the legs to complement with the arms. They grab in right there to a ball change. So that little that crash to bring the crash to the chest to promote and trigger that ball change. And they turn out of it, which is really nice. And he throws it over to the corner. Way to go. And I love how we're clocking it. It's a fun moment. And I like the little tap outs right there. So part of me feels like he wasn't supposed to do it that early. I think everyone was supposed to do it at the end. But I love that little kick, just the kick step, which we're totally here for. And then right here, he takes his off. Nah. Then everyone is unified here. Boom with the walk, beatbox. And now he takes his off. Then he has his moment, and then we have two people deviated already. Then we have our guys right here match whatever's going on with that we saw earlier, right? And I like how they go nice and low, and then our feature joins in there. And then we have that moment there too. Part of me feels like he was supposed to do that section, right? That part's fine. There we go with the beatbox. So I think he was supposed to do this, but he didn't. He's just having this angsty moment. And then he joins in here. I don't know though. And it goes, hey. I like that choice, which is just, what is it? You can see it's like a Quan kind of lower half, possibly not really though, where they go to take the arms. I like the little trace on the tail end of that, and they push. Yeah, so that back is just like what we saw with our first feature, which is why it feels familiar, but we just have more people doing it. And then I like the little straight leg there to bring it back up. Made the beatbox, T, cool, we love it. Our bird call beatbox, we love it. That boom, ticka boom. So I like the unison from here, and they take it boom, boom. Now some are here. Some are here. So of course I would assume maybe at least getting the range a little bit cleaner, but I like the drop of the wrist on that for most of them with the head there, and then we're going and we're pulling it, and I like that choice very much so. And we double it up slow and the double up nice, and we throw, and then beatbox. We love that choice where we're taking and picking up our leg and creating the seesaw effect in the upper body. It looks really nice. Taking our arms, bringing them up, throwing them down. Come on now. And they say let's go, and then they all take it off. And when the beatbox, they throw it. Yeah. And they go, run, get your jacket. So in a nutshell, I think too, this is a great example. I've mentioned this before on a Astro choreo very recently, and I'll talk about it here. Very recently for me in my real life. I mean, this is still real life for me too, but my day-to-day where I go in person to do things. I was working with a group, and they we were working through what is it like whenever you're missing members? How can we take responsibility for the space still and still provide a full out performance, and you feel like you're able to stay motivated in the routine and not feel like you have to rely upon everybody being there for the most ideal of circumstances in order for your routine to look how it needs to look. Now, I'm assuming we have all of the members here, unless I'm told otherwise. We have 7 here, which is cool. And they were able to uncover and learn that you can, there's a great sense of motivation and momentum whenever you do kind of have these types of interactions on tracks like this, or just routines that are very intense, having that let's go vibe and feel very genuine, and you feel receptive to somebody, you know, promoting that kind of momentum. Your stamina you get tired, but you don't end up falling on the floor out of exhaustion like some other intense routines that you may feel that way about. And I kind of extend that here, is that a lot of times I do end up seeing groups when they have a lot of full out movement, and they may not just be feeling it that day. They're going to be way more exhausted than in times like this, where they're just all invested, having a comedic relief about it, and also being like, let's go, you know? So I think that's super, super fun to uncover here. All right, here we go. We got the uncut, or this is, yeah, just a dance practice behind the scenes. Let's go. Do they end up doing a walk it out and I completely missed it? This right here, I was looking at the arms. Maybe. Very readable. A lot of memorable moments for me with this choreo. It's nice. Sturdy, yeah. Wow. That's so cool. Chun-Li, Renjun.
다리가 이렇게가 아니라 이렇게. Everywhere I go, bring the big boom. 우리 이거 할 때만 지성이가 완전 딱이 마음에 해주시면 Come back!
Come back. So quicken the transition is what that sounds like. 1.5, they're talking about the number line halfway through the number line. So you notice when you watch those, they're just whole numbers and they don't have the 0.5s. 0.5 means right in between the 1 and the 2 and the 3, whatever. Cool. Love it. Number lines. Part of me is super open to the idea of doing a number line on the mirror for our own studios. It just looks so efficient, personally. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
여기서 조금만 더 올라간다는 느낌처럼 막 삐빠 이 정도 막 삐빠 오래하고 삐빠 근데 어디서부터 어떻게 한다고요? 거울 보고 마피 한번 더 할래요? 거울 보고 하고
오케이 거울 보고 딱 한 번, 거울 안 보고 딱 한 번, 그리고 또 거울을 보고 한 번, 맞춘 것처럼 별로었어. 아니, 그게 아니야. 그러니까 내가 항상 좁다고 느꼈던 게 뭐냐.
삐빠 하고 그냥
빅박스 하고.
지금
그러니까 빅박스. 이거까지는 안 되니 자기가 언제 그만 멈출 거야. 자연스럽게 끝내면
약간 콘서트나 이런 공연 같은 거 할 때 하늘로 서가지고 맨 앞에서 예 하고 이렇게 끝나는 느낌처럼.
I want to hear his commentary too. Oh, cute. That is what I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so we are deflecting a little bit, right? But what's really funny about this is that it does remind me of whenever I'm like, okay, kids, let's go and let's watch this. Sometimes it's while we have it pulled up, I'm like, oh my gosh, do you guys want to see my cat? And they're like, yeah! And then we just pull it up. Sometimes it's a really good way to do a brain break, but I'm totally digging this. And also, side note, yes, shout out to the cat shirt as well. So this is of course it's real, but I'm saying this does happen a lot more than I think people realize, where I would assume, like, brain breaks are important. Like, applying yourself and being productive in the space is so important, and there are times and places where you're able to use your entire time for it, but there are times where your brain needs a break out of frustration for the material that you're trying to process through. So just completely thinking away from what your productive side is can be very helpful. Now, only doing this the whole time, of course, can make it counterproductive, but this natural deviation is something that I totally highly encourage, especially if it's of cats. Why stop a good time, you know? This is good. Good stuff. Zoom in on the cat was everything. Especially if they're cute. Absolutely. Ha! Ha!
잘했다. 약간 이런 느낌으로 끝나는 게 맞아. 근데 이게 나도 우리가 아니야. 그 자리는 서는데 그 지금
That's funny.
그냥 차라리 그냥 딱 everywhere go bring the beatbox. 그러니까 딱 2, 3.
And that is not what happened in the dance practice, right? That's funny.
Go bring the beatbox.
Funny. Don't stop in an obvious way. I like that they were trying to figure out how to finish it. And I like what ended up happening actually in the dance practice. He didn't clap. I wonder if he was like, don't touch me, I have a cold. I get that. I've had dancers like that too. I'm like that. Yeah, yeah. I didn't catch that the first time. That was nice. I was too busy looking at the subtlety of movement to the whisper, I think. Pop like soda! Ah! I'm there. I mean, of course I got that in the music video, but in the dance, it was hard to register. Soda. I like that they pieced together all the practice raw material. Yeah, and keeping the little mistakes that happens. It's also funny that it says uncut in the corner, but all this is just cut versions of the choreo. I love it. Yeah, so right there in these practices, they did not have that jacket drop scheduled like that, but I think it's super, super fun. This was a really, really nice watch, seeing just a different type of interaction. I'm used to seeing the 127 behind the scenes, so it's nice to see NCT Dream, which I'm totally here for. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch, and thank you, Kit, as always, for supplying all of us with the NCT needs. We're here for it, and I'm always excited to see whatever we end up kind of discussing what to look at together. If you guys want to see more, I always have more. I'm so appreciative of Patreon for being such a guide when it comes to the requests and being able to look at material, as well as just kind of diving in and enjoying just routines with me in real time. Like I've mentioned, everything that comes out on YouTube always gets early release there. So if you're like, Jess, I don't want to wait ever, that's a perfect place to kind of stop by and hang out and see if it's your vibe. You guys know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.